Hi, my name is Katie Wrigley. I'm a transformational coach with a specialty in stress and pain. I wanted to create this video so that you have an idea of what our work together is going to look like. So the first place we start is pretty much where most coaches start. We're going to have a pretty in-depth Q&A so that I can get really clear on where you are right now and where you want to go. And I can also understand through your eyes some of the things that you feel may be in the way of you and where you're trying to go. Now, I focus on stress and pain because organically, that was my own experience. I was a stress ball, and in 2018, I was actually disabled too. What I've learned through my own healing process, and by the way, I'm now pain free less than 4 years later, and I am living the most fulfilling life could ever hope to live. And it's because of the coaching I received and this modality that I'm going to introduce you to. The thing that was underlying my pain and my stress were patterns. So, what is a pattern? A pattern is going to be an emotion thought loop that is running. And these patterns often it can come from a trauma, it can come from a different event in life. Most of the events that actually sculpt our life the deepest happened in the first 7 years. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to have significant events later. But until that time, our subconscious is recording everything that is happening in our life. And our conscious mind has no way of ever remembering this now in present day. And if you think about it, 95% of your thinking is your subconscious mind. Of your brain function, that is all your subconscious mind. 5% is your conscious mind. So when we are able to tap into the subconscious, then we can understand how these patterns that came out of events in your early life are impacting you today and keeping you from the goals that you actually want to look at. So let's take another look at that pattern. Now, I mentioned that they can come from trauma, and a lot of them do, but sometimes it's not a trauma. Let me give you an example. I had a conversation with my parents somewhere in the mid 90s. I think it was my mom in particular. And I was kind of lazy at the time. I still wanted everything handed to me. I really hadn't understood how good I was going to feel about myself when I really started to work hard. Like I gotten good grades and everything, but I was just getting into the workforce and I think I wanted to fail to launch, but my parents weren't having any part of that. And so at that time, I was going to school, taking a couple classes, not a full load, it was summer. And I was working 3 jobs, just trying to get around Boston to get to each job on time. That alone was exhausting, let alone the time that I was working there. And I'm talking to them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys wouldn't believe how tired I am. And my mom goes, get used to it, kid. 40 hours is nothing. And in that moment, I took that, and it was an innocent comment made to encourage me and made to normalize what I was going through so I couldn't continue to dramatize how hard my life was working 3 jobs, which, yeah, that was a lot, but it was so much better than it could have been. And so her idea was to normalize it, but my subconscious took that deep, and that pattern became a driving force and one of the things that rendered me disabled by the time I reached my early 40s. That pattern of I need to work hard and I need to work more led me to huge success in my cybersecurity career. I was working 80 to 100-hour weeks, but it didn't allow for any self-care in there. And so I got really burned out and I didn't really like it anymore. And then I wanted to do something different. My point of that story is that was a pattern that was running. And when we can look at these patterns and shift them, that's where transformation is going to begin. My favorite way to do this is utilizing this cool looking ball right here. This is my Cogna movement ball. The modality that we're going to practice together is called Cogna movement. In short, it is a way to access the subconscious mind to really understand where those patterns came from and what it's giving you through the feeling in the physical body. There's this really kind of cool thing that unless we actually feel it somewhere in our body, we don't care. And so we can then get this pattern out. When we feel it, now we have access to it and we can change it and move it into what you actually want to do with your life. So we break through all of those patterns that are limiting you and keeping you back. I'm also available to help hold you accountable and make sure that you're moving forward. But each week when we meet, we're going to be doing a cognitive movement session, and you're going to bring whatever you're feeling or whatever you want to work on that week, and we're going to change it right there in that session. And then the next week after that, that's going to be you continuing to integrate and implement anything that comes up for you in that session to help you move forward to where you really want to be. I hope that this cleared up how I work. Please feel free to reach out with any other questions if you have any. You can reach me at info@katiewrigley.com. That is KATIEWRIGLEY.com. Shoot me a note and let me know that you have some questions. I'd love to spend more time with you and getting to know you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.